So President Donald Trump, Angela Aviles, said that we have an energy emergency going on. So he signed an executive order to begin looking at how we can explore more energy production. And once again, he ran on this, campaigned on this, to begin to deal with what many people believe is our over-reliance on out of the country, on energy and have us do more here to create opportunities here. Even in Annapolis, even right there in Annapolis, Governor Westmore and others have advanced bills, and this is deep, Angela, to change language of currently. We have this thing now that we joined in with California and these other states to have a compact to have zero emissions by 2035 and all this other stuff. Well, in that language, it's called, we want to only have renewable energy. Well, they want to change one word, change the word renewable to clean. Now, what does that do? If you change renewable to clean, now you can look at nuclear and other stuff like that, as opposed to just, windmills and all those other things. So anyway, having said that, there's a recognition we have a problem, right? Right?
Exactly.
Well, not according to the Attorney General of the state of Maryland, Anthony Brown. He signed on to a letter of other Democratic attorney generals calling on Congress to end the energy emergency implemented by President Trump.
That we don't have an energy crisis, which I think is...
What kind of world is he living in?
Is he not listening to people complaining about it, right?
Bryan Neham had his bill. $700 was his last bill. He goes off on it.
My son in Fed Hill, small little row home, and his bill has significantly gone up.
Two to three times.
Exactly. And people, actually, there's a Facebook group page called Fight BGE's Insane Rate Hikes. Right there you can find stories. Everyone is sharing this crisis that they're experiencing. And Anthony Brown, really, to put this message out there?
You know what it is?
Oh, I know
politics.
what it is. Well, it is.
It's just politics.
One, he's deflecting, shifting blame. It's smoke and mirrors. He basically can't accept that a lot of this has to do with our state government in bed with BGE and allowing it to become a monopoly, right?
Well, that's part of it. I'm not going to deny that. We had BGE representatives in. They're driving, according to the numbers, about 35% of the existing drive of costs is BG related. The other 60-some%, though, Angela, are policies that this state has moved forward on with a green agenda, whether it is going towards windmills and all this other stuff.
Well, and closing plants, right?
Closing plants,
and
all
now
of that.
40% of our energy is what?
Imported into the state.
And it's just common sense. If you import something, right? Think about Puerto Rico or Hawaii. They rely on imports, right? Because they're so isolated. The price of those items are so much higher in places like that.
Because the demand. Other places want them too. If you're not making it on your own and you want something that Pennsylvania wants or Virginia wants, you bid and whoever pays more gets it.
Exactly.
So that's where we are now, where you have these large electric companies who are getting the bidding, these auctions and everything else, and you see the costs going up because Maryland doesn't produce enough of its own energy. As a matter of fact, in Pennsylvania, Angela, state legislators in Pennsylvania are upset with Maryland because of the fact that Maryland is drawing down its energy and causing its prices to go up.
Exactly. And then the explanation from BGE to consumers is it's a delivery fee.
Right.
Well, exactly. That's their fancy word of putting it. Well,
here's the deal. When it comes to BGE's role in all of this, they went in front of the Maryland Public Service Commission. This is our state entity that grants rates. They went in February 2023, and they were granted the ability to raise these rates. Now, I have a problem with that. I would like to go and see why they were granted, but they went through a process.
That's what I'm saying.
To have these rate increases.
The government is in bed with BGE.
So at the same time, while that is a part of it, the other part of this, but at the middle of all this, in terms of where we are, the Attorney General is siding only on political means with these other Democrats because it's about Trump. They're making this anti-Trump thing instead of about what it really is, which are Marylanders being hit like a sledgehammer with these bills.
Yeah, well, because what he's trying to do is, helping the Democrats control the narrative on this. And, that the energy crisis is a fabrication by Trump. And that's,
Tell that to every Marylander paying these bills.
But also, if you hear like what happened in Baltimore City Council, that it's also corporate greed, right?
Yes, they said that last week.
And it just... It makes you wonder why then people begin to believe that capitalism sucks when in reality, it's a result of the government picking winners and losers. And then, people are like, we need socialism.
You can't move forward with a program before it's time. One day we will have renewable energy where it's solar and all types of windmills and wind and all this stuff to produce energy. We're not there yet.
But you can't force it
right away. We're not there yet. That's
No.
correct.
Yeah.
And by forcing it to go there, it ends up driving up demand where now we have to keep this coal plant. We have to keep this one coal plant open that instead of it closing. And if we didn't, according to all the analysts, Angelette, we would have rolling blackouts if we didn't keep this coal plant. I'll get the name of it in a minute. But it's right here in Maryland that was supposed to shut down on its own. They actually entered a lawsuit to begin to shut it down. But in our bill, we are paying a certain amount each month just to keep this plant open. And in order to, by doing that, we keep from having brownouts and rolling blackouts.
Yeah.
So that just, when you have a policy that's like that at the state level, it's BG, but it's bigger than BG. It's the state of Maryland choosing not to have a long-term plan to provide energy to folks in the state.
And then, so Democrats are going to propose, okay, we need to put some barriers, regulations here, put caps on this, but that's just a temporary solution, a temporary Band-Aid. There's a lot of things to consider. There's like that Senate Bill 1 that was passed last year, which basically creates this monopoly. There's the Stride Act that could be revoked. I mean, there's a lot of other things that this has been a couple of decades in the making.
Yes, it has.
And I, when I used to be here and had my show, I warned people about this about a year ago. You're going to see your rates increase. So I gave the warning. I know you have. A lot of other people have.
But the warning means nothing if they're wedded to an agenda. And that's what this has all been about, this green agenda that says, the planet's going to die if we don't do this. Well, guess what? We're going to be all hurting economically because of these decisions in the meantime. Would you rather, have a little bit of more energy as opposed to having your bills push you into emergency status? We're not trying to come up with a fund. They're trying to come up with a fund in Annapolis to help people at lower income levels.
And at the same time, we should applaud our, give herself a pat in the back, because here in the U.S., we have done a lot to save the planet, more than any other country.
More than India, more than China.
Yeah, more than China, for sure.
Absolutely.
So
I just look, Angelette, at what this Attorney General's letter does, everybody. Anthony Brown's letter, it flies in the face of reality. This is not a realistic thing. This is a political thing that Anthony Brown is engaged in.